Hello Twin Flames, this is Victoria and I'm here with your daily energy update. I'm gonna get straight to the reading. Not feeling particularly well this week and today, but I know that I can make it through this reading, so let's just dive into it. And as always, we're starting with an oracle card for Divine Feminines watching. Time for a nap. Oh yes, I can totally relate to that. Let me read this. This is actually one of my favorite cards in this deck. Not just because of the nap, but the art is so beautiful. It's got like this fox sleeping on the moon. This is a time to step away and rest. Let the cares of your world go. Go into a state of non-action and allow yourself to be free of the shackles of your goals, your lists, your desires. Nothing is as important as rest, detachment, and neutrality. The overly busy mind can block you from inner wisdom if you don't step back, take a seat, and rest. Be willing to let dreams surface and ideas flow through you, absent any force or conscious direction, as you observe without engagement now. Yeah, so, and it may, of course, reflect and resonate differently for you depending on your situation. Say I was just talking about my illness. For me, it's definitely to step away and literally take rest, maybe take a nap to recover, right? Because our body, when we're sick and trying to push through it, our body goes into the survival mode. And it's not a place where we can really connect well to our intuitive guidance, right? Like, it just takes so much more energy that it almost becomes not worth it. But of course, if you don't feel tired, overwhelmed, sick, anything like that, it's still asking to step back and connect, right? So that you're not just running the program of your brain, right? Of how you're solving things through the day, right? That you have this opportunity to not rush yourself, because that's what happens. A lot of times we are supposed to provide quick answers. What happens is we just go with the automated program of our brain, right? The solution that we are used to, that we know well, that has worked before, we just go with that, like the shortest way from point A to point B. And intuitive guidance a lot of times is not that, right? And that's why it's deeply connected with also creativity and observation and kind of like surrendering to what's coming in, right? We can really control it, right? So it's important to kind of like try to play with that idea, right? What area of your life, or how are you trying to control the reality where it's important to let go and let your intuition guide you. And maybe it's literally taking rest, going away, changing the scenery. But if not, it's a different perspective. So it could be Four of Swords, it could be a Hangman. Depends really. All right, wow. For the masculines, we got the Yin card. So this is the feminine energy of surrendering and again observing. So this is actually kind of a synchronicity. And I guess it's not surprising with full moon fast approaching. We have that happening tomorrow. I will post a reading in the morning, which is still gonna be before the peak. The peak is happening around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I've already spoken a lot about it. I've done my set of readings or set of messages for each zodiac sign on my other channel. So you have all the guidance you need if you're looking for something a little bit ahead of time, ahead of tomorrow. But what I'm gonna say is the full moon is really that yin energy showing up itself, coming to the surface, right? And we're supposed to embrace it, to recognize, to observe, to show it love, like that's the embrace of love, really. See what comes up. Not all of the things are going to be pleasant to see. Some of them will actually strike you as a surprise, but it's all coming out of desire to bring more alignment, balance, and love into your life. So still, same gratitude is important, kind of like living through it. And because it's a fire sign that we have this full moon in, then of course, by all means, go and do the burning ritual, where you put whatever you're trying to release, because this is the time to release and let go. Whatever you'd like to release and leave behind, write it on a piece of paper and burn it. Just make sure that you have some body of water with you where you can just throw the piece of paper, not to cause any fire hazards. Okay. Being by the fire is helpful at this time too, if you have the chance, whether it's actually the fire outside or at least the fireplace, and doing some meditation, some sort of transcendental work with the support of fire is really powerful. Bottom of the deck, I was just talking about the Hangman. Surprise, surprise. Let's get some clarifiers. A reminder that I've gone back to my blog. If you're signed up for my newsletter, you've already received a newsletter with all the links. If not, by all means, go to my website, mindfulbamboo.com, and subscribe. I think there's also a link in the description box. I really need to check that if it's still working. Yeah, but I'm gonna put a link to my article about self-worth in the comments so you guys can check it out at your convenience. Bottom of the deck here, Six of Swords. So it's essentially is a variation of Four of Swords, but this is the version with the result in mind, right? Like you arrive at the place of safety, of comfort. Four of Swords is like your intention to go into that state. And this is like this is already arriving into the place of safety. Feminines, your energy is Six of Pentacles, clarified by Queen of Wands. So to me, this is very much light worker energy. So either you already have a deep desire to create an impact, to give a helping hand, whether it's to a specific person or a community, a tribe. But yeah, this is very potent time for that. So whatever messages come to your reality through that meditative work that I mentioned at the beginning, don't just embrace it for yourself, for a personal story, but also write it down and see how it can be of use to people around you. And maybe even specific people with specific situations or stories, right? Those breakthroughs will be coming in like that, because with the full moon, forgot to turn this on, with the full moon is about illuminating things that were not necessarily known before, were not obvious before. Masculines, you have Death, clarified by Justice. How about that? Two major arcanas and pretty BS karmic clearing energies, right? It's like karma is coming full circle and it's causing transformation, right? Because essentially that's like the righteous passage of going through karmic experiences, right? We're supposed to learn from it, and we're supposed to make changes in our mindset, in our lifestyle, whatever it takes. We're supposed to heal and transform as a result. That's why karmic experiences exist in our life, right? Those are learning opportunities. It's like a lab where we are experimenting, we're dealing with different things, bouncing here and there, like, you know, sometimes making better choices, sometimes not so much. But essentially the bottom line is that it's supposed to bring in more wisdom and cause transformation and ascension, really, right? So that's what's happening for divine masculines right now. And it's one of those situations where they don't really have a say in it. Like, they cannot push back anymore. They don't have that chance. Like, they've done it enough. And specifically because we have death energy there. There's one person that I follow on YouTube that keeps saying the story that she experienced with her mom when she was already, you know, the older age, and maybe closer to her passing. She said that, you know, the first 1 or 2 times that they come for you, whoever that somebody is coming for you when you're passing, you can say no. You have a choice, you have a say in that. But there will be a time when you can't say no anymore. And here, of course, we're talking more about the rebirth, right? But this is like a major change. This is a Scorpio energy. This is like 180 degrees change. And this time, they can't say no. They cannot push back. They cannot pretend like that's not happening. It comes on them like an avalanche. And that's it. The old life doesn't exist anymore. Additional info, Six of Wands clarified by Six of Pentacles. I love all the sixes. They are this energy of going public with something new and important to say, right? To me, like right now, I'm hearing this is exactly what it is, right? The twins are getting insights that they feel are important to share with public, right? And to kind of, first of all, to reflect on who they are, what they've been through, what those experiences meant, but also to be able to help people around them. A lot of times that storytelling is all it takes for people to start seeing things differently, to take a step towards healing and happier life, and towards maybe getting help, whatever it takes, right? But a lot of times, and you can probably resonate for your own experiences, sometimes like it's this little nudge that gets us going, that is a difference between standing still or being afraid and actually going for something bigger and better. For feminines, we have King of Cups clarified by Ten of Cups. Yeah, this is like the quintessential energy of emotional balance and loving aura, you know, like creating the space of love, really, right? But offering it to others. To me, that's the combination of King and also the Ten of Cups in this particular case. Like you are creating that environment of love for others. And that's this is the response to that comment I had about sharing, about helping others, right? Creating the loving environment. That's the answer. That's the key to success. For masculines, we have Eight of Swords clarified by Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, so they are, as they are looking at their life and what it is from the distance, when they are prepared, you know, like to share more authentically, they see a lot of ugly scenes and experiences that they're not proud of, right? It's kind of behind the scenes. It's something that's behind closed doors that they haven't maybe even confessed to themselves before, right? And by the way, it doesn't mean that they didn't have guilty consciousness about it or they weren't ashamed. A lot of times that's exactly why it happens. If we feel guilty or ashamed or really scared of something, we suppress that experience and then we just don't acknowledge it, right? Or we're in denial if somebody presses us about it, right? So this is a time when, again, that's part of that karma coming around and realization that part of who I am authentically is those painful experiences. So where I was overthinking, where I did not make good choices that were good for my health and wellness and lifestyle, but I was driven by some other criteria and influence. How are feminines feeling towards masculines right now? Eight of Cups clarified by Knight of Pentacles. And look at that full moon, by the way. So they want to walk away from the expectations they had about how this would come together, about the knight in the shining armor running to them and just riding into the sunset together on the like horseback riding. Right, this is like walking away from some of the past dreams as well, but understanding which, like, why they were relevant then and maybe not relevant now, or what's real, what's not, that kind of question, right? So they're sending vibes to Divine Masculine that they have moved on from those old expectations, or are moving on with this full moon energy, and they're ready for something more stable and long-term, which they know takes time, and they are ready not really to wait, but to hold space. Very big difference between the two. How are masculines feeling towards feminines? Nine of Wands clarified by Knight of Swords. Also Knight on the kind of like clarifying subconscious aspect of it. They do want to communicate, they do want to share, to explain some of the previous choices when they were scared, when they didn't feel good enough, and some of the reasons why they're taking time. It seems like too long right now, right? But the important part is, and something is holding them from it, and maybe they don't even realize that it could be the divine timing, the divine alignment that's keeping them until the time is right to come in and share. But what's important to know for the feminines watching is that they're definitely planting the seeds and they're building something new. Those realizations have come to them, and not even right now, not even with that death energy, but long before, that what they were doing wasn't sustainable long term. That's not how they wanted to run their life forever and ever, right? It's just the problem was also that they kept being in those cycles of like, well, this is good enough for now. For now, I'm doing the best I can. Or like, for now, this is sufficient for me, right? Like, I don't really need to care about XYZ right now, right? Like, it was all kind of temporary, but that's how a long time has passed, and they were still stuck in like, I don't need to grow up and be more mature and have that long-term vision. I'm just okay with how things are running right now, right? And this is the change. But I mean, what I'm saying is that they knew that something will have to change, and they're starting to make changes now. It is a little slow. There is a lot of fear still, a lot of unknowns, and their logical brain is not allowing them to just keep going without having a good plan, or without having a vision of how it's going to play out, and that they're going to be successful. Sorry, guys. Whew. Yeah, this cold is really catching up with me, but this is like the last concept that I wanted to share, and I wanted to make sure that those who are watching understand. And for masculines watching, this is progress. This is important. So don't beat yourself up that it's not quick enough or it doesn't look as cool as it could have been, right? This is progress, and there is divine timing for everything. So right now is divine timing for nurturing those planted seeds, making sure they grow, making sure that you got it right. And it also discipline, like it teaches you having faith. There we go, right? Like with planting, with gardening, if you think about it, you can't always predict on 100% whether something is gonna grow or not, whether if it's flowers, if they're gonna bloom or not, right? And even more risk if it's an outside plant, which is gardening really is, right? Because there are elements, there are pests, like all kinds of factors that you don't really have control of, and you don't know how your plant is going to behave, right? But it's trust, it's that faith that we have, right? It's that love that we give it without necessarily knowing if it's going to happen or not. And that's the behavior and the mindset that is being exercised, that's being taught, you know. And I'm getting ring in my ears as I'm saying it. You know, like when you're starting to learn how to write, you have those exercises where you write the same thing, like the same element and then the same word and then the same phrase many times. You keep copying them until you build that muscle memory, until it becomes automatic. And the same here. And it may seem small, it may not seem serious, but that's where it starts, and it's very important in the bigger scheme of things. Okay, I hope this was good for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you all, and I'll be back with more readings very soon.